Hi, welcome to RV to Freedom Live with Carenza and Brandon.
Howdy.
We're coming to you live on Facebook tonight, and we are the creators of RV to Freedom and host the RV to Freedom Facebook group and the creators of
the Roadmap to Full-Time RVing course that you can find at roadmaptofulltimerving.com.
So I just see that we already have some comments, so I was just like, oh, I'm just popping in and looking.
Hey, Ruby, Nancy, Marion, and Kyle.
All right. So we wanted to talk today. We have that question, is RVing for everyone? And let us know, have you guys heard any of these kind of statements? Maybe you've heard, you must be rich to travel full time.
Or, I thought only retirees could full time.
Or, you want to live in a van down by the river?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or, you don't look like an RVer.
Or, you're going to be homeless.
Or maybe this one that I really don't like is, RVers just want to live on the fringes of society and leech off it.
Yeah. You know, some of this stuff is just kind of agitating.
Yeah,
it's just we've got to call BS on this. And you guys, if you've heard anything else, let us know. Write this in the comments. What have you heard? What are
your friends and family and coworkers or just random people that you say, I'm going to live in an RV? What do they say? Or maybe, what's the look they give you?
Yes, yeah.
If you're, most people will say, wow, that's great. I wish I could have done it. But occasionally you get the people that just don't get it.
Don't get it. And you're going to hear this from all different sources. It's not just one thing that's happening. It's everywhere. It can come from friends. It can come from family.
It can even come from yourself because you start to, maybe you hear these things, or you've grown, you've lived your whole life in a house and with this idea of I got to work and I got to do this and all that. And you start to tell yourself, well, I'm not allowed to do this yet.
So, and it can come from other RVers too. You think that they're going to understand, but people have preconceived notions in their head and what they think that an RVer, and especially a full-timer, should be.
Yeah.
So we want to talk a little bit about where this is coming from. When you have your friends and family and sometimes even strangers that you're meeting on the street, when they're outside the lifestyle,
they just don't get it. They've got a mindset of how it should be, and you're talking about a foreign language to them, basically.
Hey, JP.
Hey, JP.
On, and Adele is here too. Nancy.
And even when you start looking around in the RV groups and the RV forums where you think, hey, these are RVers, they should get it. Even there, you start to hear things that don't quite.
They don't jive with everything. I mean, we even saw in a forum recently, someone was actually trying to understand how people who were younger, and they meant not retired, were getting out on the road. And they were trying to understand this, but they had preconceived notions.
Yeah. They thought that, well, how do all these people go out on the road and live in $200,000 RVs and travel? And, well, first of all, most of us don't have $200,000 RVs. It's this preconceived notion of, they have all these certain things. And then what happens is that conversation started to spiral, and people were like, well, they're trust fund babies. They're just a bunch of rich trust fund babies out there just being rich and running around. And we've been on the road 5 years. We've met a lot of people. I have not met a trust fund baby yet, or a trust fund adult even.
Well, Gary said he knows we're so rich. Gary knows. And hey, Paul, haven't seen you in a while. Susan's here too. But yeah, that's so even from other RVers, you can hear this stuff and see this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, worry about your choice.
Yeah, and that's another thing we see. Nancy was saying that they've talked about full-timing for years, but now that it's getting close and getting serious, your family feels this need to protect you. Well, what if you lose value in your RV, or what if you don't like it, or what if? Well, what if you don't travel? What if you don't go see things? What if you die tomorrow? You can always turn around and come back, and you lose a little bit of money, but people have lost money doing lots of stupider things than RVing.
Right. Right. And it's one of those things, is that friends and family trying to protect you, you know, oh, you're going to sell your house, it's going to depreciate. Well, not every house appreciates either, and you got to do what's right for you. And they're not looking at the aspects that we are. Yeah. When we want to go full time, of the travel and seeing other places and enjoying our life,
doing it while you're capable. And the world has changed. The people that have come before us have done a great job making things better, and making technologies and making all these advances that allow for people to go on the road and work, or not work, retire, live on the road, and do it comfortably and safely and stay connected.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then what happens is, you hear all these things,
you start to internalize it.
Yes.
And then you become your own worst enemy. So, okay, let's just put it up. Don't be your own worst enemy. Don't. Because you can play this stuff in your head, and you start thinking, well, I haven't, and you might not even realize you're thinking this, but, you know, I haven't earned the right to go out there and enjoy my life yet. Yeah. I haven't worked 40 years in an office under fluorescent lights, or on the factory floor or something.
Yeah, or I'm going to be homeless. I'm running away from society and making myself homeless.
And what are people going to think?
What are people going to? Yeah, what are they going to think about me? You know. You
and then
tell most people what you do.
Right. Well, and you know you haven't earned the right. That's kind of outdated mode of thinking with that, because it's different now. As you were saying, we have progressed as a society, making it so that we can get out there and do some of this now. And just because you're going out and enjoying your life now, which you can enjoy in one place too, but going out and doing something that you want to do doesn't mean you haven't earned the right. We're still working.
Yes, we work all the time, but our office window changes all the time. And it's just, you know, the things have changed a lot. And before this, it was hard for people to just go out and start. But even back in the 70s, people went out in full-time, and they made it work. That's how the Escapees RV Club started up.
Yeah, that's what I thought of too.
Back in the 70s, those are working full-timers. It's just people get in their heads that there's a certain way you must do things in order to live in a society, and then you get to have your fun at the end. And then when they see other people doing it differently, they feel a need to say, well, hey, you didn't earn it the same as I did. And so what? Right. You know, if your enjoyment is based on how well other people are doing, then that's kind of weird. Like, make your enjoyment about yourself and what you're doing.
I saw Tiffany come on too. We've got Tiffany and Paul probably at different places watching this, but Tiffany's catching up on her lunch break from work right now to watch this. So
and Tiffany's a full-timer.
She's a full-timer, and she's here watching it on lunch. So she has earned the right to enjoy her life and work while she does it.
Yeah. So just to get back to the core of this, is RVing for everyone? Let's talk about the different
those reasons.
Yeah, the different little reasons.
Reasons people say that you've got to be this and that. So let's start with, you must be rich.
Yes, you have to be rich.
Full time.
You can't do this if you're not rich. So
okay, we're going to use ourselves as examples here. We're not rich.
No.
We're not rich.
No, we made some good choices. We saved a lot of money when we were working, and we put that money down on our RV. It does take money to do this. It doesn't take a ton of money, and there's lots of different ways to live.
Yes.
And so, again, it comes down to preconceived notions. If someone thinks a full-timer is large RV in a resort park every single night, then yes, I can't afford that. That's not a life that I can do. But I can do boondocking sometimes. I can do Thousand Trails, Passport America. I can mix it up. I can stay in state parks, and then
I also don't have to have the biggest, baddest RV out there.
And yeah, I don't need to impress anybody with my RV. I'll impress them with my axe making skills or whatever. But there are ways to do it that are different than the ways other people do it, and I don't judge them for doing it their way. They don't need to judge us for doing it our way, and we don't judge people for doing it a different way, you know, that's even cheaper than us. It's RVing. It's just as there's a million different types of people, there's a million different types of RVers.
That's right. So you don't have to be rich. There are all different budgets that people full-time on. And they can be rich and they can be going, but it's not necessary.
And I think another thing that plays into this is people see that, you know, well, what about these people that just want to put their kids in an RV and go sell trinkets at the fair? And okay, so what? They're doing it. If it works for them, fine. Maybe it won't work for them and they'll stop and they'll do something else, but it doesn't affect you at all. So again, don't let people get into your head. If it's something you want to do, try it. And if you fail at it, then go do something else.
Okay, that next one, you must be retired to full-time RV.
Yes.
We're an example again. We're not retired.
No. A lot of the people that I see here listening live right now are not retired either.
That's correct.
Because we've met a fair number of them. Yeah.
Some are. A few are retired here. And that's awesome. I would love to be retired and doing this and not having to sit inside and work. Not that I don't like what I'm doing. But
it'd be a lot nicer to be outside playing every day.
Right. Yeah. It would be wonderful. But you don't have to be retired. And that's the great thing about this age, of this internet age, is that it is possible to do a lot more online. It is possible to work jobs remotely a lot easier than it used to be.
And even finding physical jobs in other locations, the internet also makes that easier, because you can find listings in other states and cities, wherever. And you know, this little box right here makes it possible for us to do this kind of thing and do our other work as well. So the world has changed, and the people that came before us made the world better. And that's how everybody wants it to be. You always want it to be better for your children. So you make it a little bit better, then it's easier for them, and it should be. And then you can't turn around and complain about them having it easier. You made it easier. Right. You know?
And then, I mean, this is a complaint we have seen in groups. I think it even popped up in our group one time. It was like, you know, these people, you have to be able to retire. You have to work at certain length of time before you get to go play. And that's not necessary this day and age. No. It doesn't work for everyone, but not to say that you can't do it. Why must you sit in one place? No. And the other thing with is it, do we need to wait till we retire? We know people who didn't get the chance
in our own families.
Yeah. So we don't want to wait to do that. We didn't want to wait for a time that might never come.
No. And on the other side of this, we know tons of young people younger than us that are super focused on understanding retirement. They're living the RV life, but they're working a ton, and they're scraping all that money into the bank as much as they can, because they're all planning to retire, and most are planning to try to retire early. So this preconceived notion of, oh, they're living in a junky van just leeching off society. No, they're living in a cheap RV, so they don't have payments. They're taking advantage of things that we pay for with our tax dollars anyway, like BLM lands and federal lands. And they are working hard, paying into Social Security, paying their taxes, and stuffing money in the bank so they can retire early. And you know, there's just this idea that, well, if they're out there on the side of a cliff, they must just be goofing off.
Yeah, well, people think you're on vacation all the time. Yeah. That's all it is. And that's not what it is for a lot of people. When you're not retired, you are working. It's not a vacation all the time. Even though you do get to be somewhere else and somewhere wonderful half the time, maybe after you finish work, you get to go outside and play, and it's somewhere new. It's not a vacation all the time. You are working. You still are contributing to society and to your retirement fund and everything else.
Yeah, Beth Ann said the same thing. She's had issues in her family too. And everybody sees this. It happens to most families. Either someone retires and then they get sick almost immediately, or people get close to retirement age, or they buy their last house thinking this is the house that we're going to have, you know, until we retire or whatever. And then things just don't go, you know, life happens. And it's kind of one of those jokes. Life happens when you're busy making other plans.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And yeah, Julie, you get a lot of people saying it must be nice. I wish I could do that.
The sarcasm and wish I could do that.
Yeah. You know, we got a lot of that too. And I used to, like, when we first started, I used to kind of get on to people because it's, how much do you really wish you could do it? Do you wish you could do it enough that you're not going to go buy a new couch or a new car, that you're going to squirrel that money away so you can get the down payment or pay off an RV? Like, do you really wish you could do it so much that you're going to give up on coffees at Starbucks every day so that you can squirrel away a little bit more money?
Or that you'll learn a new skill so that you can get a job that you can do from the road.
Yeah, because people say they love to say they wish they could do that, but at the end of the day, they go home and they flip on the TV and they check out, and they get up and do the same thing the next day. The only way you can do something like this is to do it, is to commit to it and focus your whole life on it until you're in it, and then you can live it. And it is one of those things that, you know, wishing you can do it isn't the same as doing it and focusing on it.
And Susan's right too. Just because you may have worked all your life doesn't mean you have a retirement fund.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a big issue too. One of the reasons that a lot of people are doing it, because they don't think, oh, well, no, at 65, I get to retire and then I get to do this. That doesn't necessarily work either.
Yeah. And Ruby's saying the same thing. They work so much and they're taking care of a house. They don't even have the extra money to put back. So they're looking into RVing. And for a lot of people, RVing can be a cheaper way to live. And for some people, it's not. So it is, we don't want to be like the RV cheerleaders that were like, everybody can do it. But it is possible to do it in many different ways than just the stereotypical big RV in a big RV park.
All right. So let's go with you'll be homeless.
Yeah.
I think it's one that people can hear from others who don't understand what this lifestyle means. We don't like to say we're homeless.
We're houseless. Yeah.
Yes.
Our RV is our home. It's our house. It has wheels and it rolls. And yes, this RV isn't going to last forever. It is going to depreciate. Sometimes people's houses depreciate too. And we understand that, and we're aware of that, and we are thinking about the future in other ways.
And I mean, some people actually do keep a home base. Some people part-time where they're out for months at a time. There are different ways to do it. But you're not homeless. Homeless has a different signifier than just living in an RV. And this is one of those well-intentioned sometimes from people who like, you're going to be homeless.
Yeah, but don't you want somewhere to come back to? Like,
oh, right.
Yeah, we can come back to the city and buy another house or rent something, but we don't need to keep something. I was
explaining this to a clerk today when I was purchasing something, because people always ask, especially for a tourist area, where are you from? Well, we travel full time. And they're like, oh, so where do you go back to? Or where do you have a home? Like,
we travel all the time.
We travel all the time. It's and then I have to find out, where are you from originally? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and you'll find once you hit the road that question, you get in a tourist town, every store is like, oh, where are you from? And then you have to decide, do I want to have a conversation or just want to say, I'm from Georgia. I'm from Georgia. She's from Indiana. And then move on. And some days that's how we are. Some days it's like, I don't want to describe what we do and get into it all. So yeah. And cool, Julie's last night in her
That's
house.
what I was going to say. Yes.
Yeah.
I was bringing that up. They're about to be houseless.
Yeah.
Although they're renting. But,
Yeah.
you know, like you guys are going to be pretty much houseless for a while. You can't go back there when other people are in it. So you're houseless, but you're not homeless.
Yeah. I remember,
you have your home.
I remember when we had that time and we had the pillows were on the floor and that was it.
Oh, yeah.
And the dogs were like curled up on these little tiny pillows trying to get comfortable.
They were trying to take
They
our
didn't know
pillows.
what was going
Yeah.
on.
We have that picture. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, Beth Ann.
Hey, Amanda or Amanda. I don't know if
Amandy.
I should. Well, I know her. That's Mandy.
Okay.
I haven't seen you in so long, and she gets it. She gets it. That's awesome.
Yeah, and Beth Ann, yeah, people really want you to have somewhere to go back to. They need to know where you are and where you're going to be, and it's, again, we're doing something different, and that's understandable for them to not quite get it. We have my sister-in-law's father. He's very tied into the community, and every now and then he would talk to me about like, I just don't understand.
Yeah,
like,
he doesn't get what we're doing at all.
You need to be like part of your community, and we have a community.
Right.
It's on the road, and it's a lot of the people that are here, and it's
Yeah.
people we meet up and we cross paths with, and we hang out with them in different cool places. It's just it's different, and it's, you know, it's part of how we are. We don't really, when we were in places, we never really felt all that tied into the community or anything. So anyway, yeah.
But I liked what Amanda, I don't know if you can buy that now. Sorry. Home is where your people and your critters are. Everything else is just geography.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. Because we don't.
Yeah, Jody. Jody's like, if you're not sure if it's right for you, try it for a year. That's what they did, and now they're 16 months in and plan to continue. I love it when I meet people that are the try it for a years, because they're like, oh, we're just going to do it for a year, and that's a great way to do it. And it's a great way to deal with your family, because you don't sound as crazy if you're like, I'm just taking a year to go explore, and then I'll come back and get normal again. But you know, most of the time when we meet people that are, oh, we're just going to do it for a year, we kind of smile. We're like, yeah, we'll see you next year. Because a lot of people stick. And then, you know, after a couple of years, people, maybe they leave and they go back to a stationary life. Oftentimes it's in a new city that they found on their travels that clicked with them. So it's not like if you're an RVer, you have to always be an RVer or you're a bad RVer. It's just do whatever the hell you want. That's what we're getting to, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tiffany's got to go clean out their thing. Aaron will come back to you in just a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't fit the mold of an RVer, which is basically saying
you're too young, or you're not. You don't look like the kind of person we would see in an RV park.
You're not white and retired.
Yeah, and
basically.
Yes, the RV demographic is pretty much what you expect it to be, but there's a lot more to it than that.
There is more, and it's diversifying more. And just because it is that way doesn't mean it needs to stay that way. So we welcome everyone. RVing is about exploring yourself, exploring the land, and meeting others. And you know, it doesn't need to be just a single demographic.
Right. Because that makes it weird. And then it gets weird and insular and strange. And we don't fit that mold, even though we might look the part sometimes. Our brains don't think the same way sometimes. But yeah, like there's all kinds of groups out there for every different interest and every different type of person that's an RVer or not an RVer, and you'll find your people on the road, and your people exist out here. Trust me. No matter how weird you are and how fringe you think you are, your people are out here. And if you're completely normal, we got people for you too. They're all out here.
We're all a little weird because we are out here doing this.
Yeah, you have to be a little weird.
Well, we're all kind of bucking societal norms.
Yeah, I like Stan's comment.
That's what I thought it went right with this. So
all right, I'll save it. Yes. Yeah, bucking societal norms. Okay, we're doing it.
We're doing it.
So what?
So, I mean, yeah, it goes to that living on the fringes of society or trying to leech off of society. And it's not about that. Again, it's one of those things people just don't get.
Yeah.
And that's not why you're choosing to live in an RV, is because you want, oh, I've got to live on the fringes. I mean, there are people who want to live off grid and just stay off the grid. And I don't mean off grid and not electrical terms.
Or like off society's grid with burning off their fingertips and all that too.
Right.
But whatever. If that's what makes them happy, whatever. As long as it doesn't affect me physically in any direct way, have all the fun you want. And who decided what societal norms are? Who decided that we worked 8 hours a day, we paid for a house we couldn't afford, we fill it with stuff, and then we drive away from it all day and we air condition it while we're gone? I mean, who decided that's right? I mean, that's in caveman times, they didn't do that. So whatever works and can get you to the end happiest, that's what we're after.
Right. And we don't have to follow those societal norms. We don't all need a white picket fence and a house in one place and use our 2 weeks of vacation to go somewhere.
Yeah.
We can live beyond that, and we don't have to follow that. And just because someone doesn't understand that doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right. Yeah.
And we're not trying to leech off of society. We're all looking to go out there and explore more of America and Canada, particularly in Mexico, because we're all in North America at this point.
And we have wheels. It's harder to drive further than that.
Yeah. In our RV, you know. But most of us are looking to explore the society around us. We're exploring our land and exploring our country and exploring regional differences. So we're looking to understand our society more. And so I think it's a very bad misnomer that we want to leech off of society.
Yeah.
It bothers me.
Yeah, it does. And sometimes it bothers me a little bit when people are just hardcore American and they've never left their state. Like, you don't even know America. You've never even seen it. And I don't care if you want to RV and only stay in your state too. I'm not saying you have to go see it all, but there's a lot out there. And why not see it? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Nancy.
Yes.
I like that one.
I was thinking that too. Yeah. What if you get sick? You're not getting any younger, you know? Well, what if you get hit by a bus tomorrow?
Right. And what if you get sick? You go to the doctor or the hospital and you get it dealt with, because there's hospitals everywhere.
Right.
There's,
even if it's a bigger issue, something that's not a quick fix or something. Yeah, you have to deal with it. You know, and people do that. People do that on the road. There's some people who came off the road for a bit. They went back to like their hometown to deal with some medical issues and hang out there for a while. But they still have their home, their RV home with them.
Yep.
And
there's RV parks that even cater to that. There's one in Houston near a huge medical center that we were staying there, and we didn't realize that was what it was for. And they have shuttle buses to take people back and forth for physical therapy and procedures and whatever. They have people on site to help you out. Even the Escapees Club has
they
people.
have care, which like you can actually go and stay in the park. And
FMCA has a plan that will help you. If you do get sick somewhere and you need to get back to your hometown, they'll help you get back, or they'll send someone to get your RV back for you. So
and people will come off. You can come off the road, and sometimes people still live in their RVs when they do that. Sometimes they buy another property. You know, just because it can happen doesn't mean the what ifs can drive you crazy. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, because what if? Yeah. That's not.
And the thing is, you might get sick. You probably will get sick at one point. You probably will get older, like most people do. But life happens, and you should enjoy it if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to either.
The big thing here is that you've got to live your own journey. Not anyone else's journey, not what they're saying to you, not what's in your head trying to pull you back. And maybe because of what you've heard, or just because of what societal norms are and what you're thinking. I'm going to be homeless, all this. Start living your own journey. And this is, where did his comment go?
Right there. You just missed it.
Oh, this one?
Up one. There
okay.
Yeah.
Stan had a good thought here. Every man must die, but not every man lives. Go live your life the way you want.
Yeah.
It's very true. Because, yeah, we can all focus on, yes, at some point we're going to die. There is this what if about it. What if we get sick and need to come off the road and then we don't have the house that we had 2 years ago, 5 years ago, even 6 months ago? But
I like the one, too, of no one ever gets to the end and then they say, I wish I worked more.
Yeah. But, you can make it work. Just because you don't have the house, you don't focus on that part of it, that what if part. You focus on the living part and actually getting out there and doing what you want to do.
What are we looking at?
Oh, Aaron's.
How do we address the question of how do you afford it? It's tough because a lot of times we do a lot of different things and a lot of RVers do a lot of different things. So sometimes it's, well, we do a lot of different things. That's what we say, but that never seems to be enough for people. They really want to know all the different things you do and how they work. And so I just start rambling until they leave me alone. But it's tough. It is a tough one. And I wish I could just tell people, just mind your own business. Not your problem. But yeah, it's a tricky one.
That is a tricky one. And you just say you work online. That's what people always.
Yeah. Oh, I work online. I do.
People actually supply that for us, and we're like, yeah, all right, done.
Yeah.
But there's different things to say.
Yeah. Go on Wikipedia, look up some like obscure coding language, and just tell them that's what you do, and hopefully you don't meet the guy who actually does that and wants to talk to you about it.
Yeah, so that's one of those tricky things because at some point you're just like, it's none your business.
Yeah.
Like maybe, but there's so many ways that people like get out on the road today that they have to understand that there's a multitude of things.
It's kind of the same question of, well, how do you afford to live in a house?
Right.
Everybody makes their money in their own way, and just because it's the way I do it doesn't mean you can do it the way I do it. So there you go.
That's the way to go back on it.
I like Julie's comment there. Part-time stripper, drug dealer, car thief, and dog walker.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. That's awesome. And Nancy as well. They're a lot younger than those people look in their picture. And yes, that's what we're realizing. True. The more we interact with RVers of all ages, one of the things that we notice in common is they're still in their 20s in their head. No matter how old they are, they're still young at heart.
Okay.
Now, Paul, we actually do know RVers who have been in that industry, so that's not one that's far outside of the realm.
Not as the actors, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just hit it. Is RVing for everyone?
No.
It's not for everyone.
No.
But it's more of a personal reason and your decision for that. The reasons that we just gave are you have to be rich, you have to be retired, you're going to be homeless, you don't fit that mold, and you want to live on the fringes of society and leech off of it. Those aren't the reasons that it's not for you.
Exactly.
Those aren't the reasons.
That might be the reasons it's not right for them.
Right.
Because they can't get past that. But RVing is really cool if you like it and if you can afford to do it and you can do it the way you want to do it. But it isn't for everyone, and that's okay.
Right. It's not for a lot of those people who are questioning it. But it might not be right for you.
And even
you have
some
to
of the
figure
people
out that
in the group,
if it is.
yeah, I'm watching,
Or not.
it might not work out for you. you'll be all right. You'll survive it, and you'll move on, and you'll do something else, or
you'll figure out beforehand that it's not, you don't want to travel all the time, or you don't want to live in that type of space. You know, there are different things that might put you off of it, but these are not the reasons, is basically what I want to get at.
Yeah.
These are preconceived notions that people have, and they're all BS because they're not true. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be retired. You're not going to be homeless. You don't have to fit a certain mold. And unless you really do plan to leech off society, that is not the intention of the majority of RVers.
Right. Right. So that's what we wanted to talk about. You do you. That's all. That's 35 minutes after we started. That's what we're down to, is do what you want to do. Live the life you want to live. Be happy. As Jonathan posted here, lighten up, enjoy life, smile more, laugh more, and don't get so worked up about things. And maybe I was just complaining. I was like, I should charge the batteries for this light. It's been a while, and it's been exactly that long.
I had this inkling that's what happened tonight.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, give it a shot if you want to, and if you don't. It's cool. And other people you talk to, they may not get you, and that's okay too. Find your RV people, and that's where you can open up and you can talk about things, because it does get a little weird talking to family, especially family that's doing the 40-hour a week or the 60-hour a week grind and raising the kids and living in the house and paying for all that. You might drift apart, not apart emotionally or anything, but just your conversations. You might not be able to come to terms. They're going to have different concerns than you do, and you're going to start to feel like, I'm complaining about having to travel everywhere, you know, or something.
And this is also why we started the RV to Freedom group. It's one of the reasons, because even if you have supportive friends and family, they still don't understand the lifestyle. They're not part of it. They might not get what you're doing. They're trying to be supportive, want to make sure you're not homeless.
Yeah.
Well, you should have a home base.
And they're going to look at you a little weird when you bring up the black tank at dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, I mean, it is one of the reasons that we did that, because that way you could have a community that aspires to the same thing as you. You know, we all want to live in our RVs in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. We want to live in our RVs, and we like to travel and see things.
All we want to do is help you do the thing you want to do. If the thing you want to do is live super cheap in this way over here, or you want to live in a big luxury RV over here, whatever you want to do, we just want to help you get there and understand the things you need to think about, and not worry about the things that aren't really that important. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah. You guys all dressed up in your Minnesota gear. Can't see what that picture is.
All right, guys. So that's all we had for tonight. I was just going to hit this one question Stan asked about. Where do we get our mail? We get our mail from...
You know what? There's an article we helped out on with escapees.
Oh, yeah. We get our mail. We use the Escapees mail service, and our mail is sent to a mailbox in Texas. And then when we want it, we call them up and we say, hey, send us our mail. So that's what we use. There's a lot of mail services out there. So they're all tied into different states, but finding one that is an RV specific one is nice, because they understand that we're all over the place and we're going to want different addresses every single time we call, and they'll scan things for you if you want them to and stuff like that. So that's cool.
I'm popping in a link on the comments. Chat. Yeah. There we had that. That is a good article from Escapees. Actually, we have contributed to it.
Yeah, if you want to know a little bit about how we make our money, we work for Escapees part-time sometimes. And we put this article together and drew the pictures and made the infographic and all that stuff for them.
Yeah, but it explains how RVers get their mail on the road. So it's a very good overview of it. So we might as well send you there.
Yeah. Well, awesome, guys. It's been fun. And Beth Ann, yeah, we'll see you around again. We've seen you a couple of times now. Or we're just at Escapade.
Just an escapade.
Seems like a couple of times because we hung out a few times. So it's like, oh, we're old friends now. So, yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, well, it was great to hang out, guys. Glad we had this chat. So remember, live your own journey. You do you. Forget all those naysayers, including what's in your little brain picking at you, telling you you're going to be homeless. And
hugs, not drugs, and stay in school, and all the other cliches.
Yeah, all of your own journey isn't, I don't think.
Not all who wander are lost.
Right. Nice. But yeah. Oh, that was Steelers stuff that Paul was wearing. I see Steelers all the way on there.
Almost got in trouble.
Well, they're from Minnesota.
Yeah,
why
Julie,
would I
tell Marnie to get back to work. I think you can take the night off. Tell Marnie I said it's okay.
Yeah, your last night in the house before you go full time.
Yeah, I mean, this was her crazy idea. Or was it yours? I don't remember now.
I don't know. She's the one looking.
Just make her do the work anyway. Whatever. All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Great to see all of you. We will see you next Monday.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this replay of our Facebook live show.
Join our Facebook community to participate in the live shows and learn how to live in an RV.
Go to rvtofreedomgroup.com to join the RV to Freedom Facebook group.
And to be notified about our next live videos and more, sign up with the link provided below in the video description.
We want to help you find your RV to freedom.